That's ridiculous. Anyway, hello and welcome to the Harbor Podcast. We're talking about Ghostbusters 3. Is it Ghostbusters 3 or 4?
This is Ghostbusters 4?
It's really the third one's the video game. Did you ever play that?
No, I didn't. And
there's a remastered version now that I'm like, maybe I should pick it up after all this time.
I heard it's decently. Here's the thing. I think I played the demo back when it came out and I wasn't into it, but it was a 7 out of 10 game in like 2009. So I don't know. I don't know if it'll be.
Yeah, play 7 out of 10. It has to be 8 out of 10 IGN rated or above.
Yeah, exactly.
And enjoy.
No, there's a lot of 7 out of 10 games I love. This is awesome. I loved Crackdown 3. I played that this past week, and that was like a 5 out of 10. I loved it. But anyway,
that's like it used to be like the official Ghostbusters 3, but now there is a Ghostbusters 3. And
yeah, so does that retcon it? You know, is the Ghostbusters video game retcon? Do I care?
Some people take canon video games seriously and others don't, like in the Matrix online game that was around where Morpheus canonically died in it.
What?
Yeah, in the online game. Yeah, so
that's kind of badass though.
I don't know if that carries water for the fourth womb, but
I heard that was a neat MMO. Also, the Matrix makes sense as an MMO, and we're playing it right now.
Have you seen how the last day of that MMO, what happened?
Yeah, it was like the Matrix cascaded and failed, and like
everyone what crumpled into like paper basically and died.
Yeah. That's awesome. I hear cool things about the Matrix MMO, and I need to see the trailer for that new Matrix game. Unreal Engine 5.
Oh yeah,
we're not here to.
It's just like a demo thing.
Yeah, it's a demo. Okay, but we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about Ghostbusters for the Force Awakens.
Yeah, the Ghost Awakens. The Force Awakens effect.
It awakens more than Dan Aykroyd's crotch when the ghost lady succubus molests him.
Oh yeah. It's
Bustin' makes me feel good. Bustin' makes me feel good.
For those listening, The Force Awakens is the 7th Star Wars film released.
Yeah, in case you, for some reason, you're listening to this obscure ass podcast and didn't know that. You got lost finding macaroni and cheese recipes.
It was not the first to do the pass the torch kind of revitalization / soft reboot, but it was the one that made 900 million domestic. And everyone was like, well, now I guess we can do that too.
And it's an odd thing. I know that's part of it, but it sometimes it does. There's so many things going on in that movie. What makes producers think this is the thing that made it make 900 million domestic, not that it's Star Wars Episode 7. And obviously that's part of it, nostalgia bait. And we'll get into that because that's pretty much all this movie is and what we're talking about. But why are you not like, oh, excellent casting and yada yada? I actually do think this movie is relatively well cast, but
yes,
and we'll get into that. But I don't know. Here's the thing: how big of a Ghostbusters fan are you? Would you call yourself a fan?
I am a enjoyer of the first movie.
That's how I am. And I'll be honest, I'm kind of an enjoyer of the second movie.
I saw the second movie like 2 times as a kid and it never stuck with me. I have not watched the second one since like 10th grade, so I can't tell you if I would enjoy it more now or not. I've never seen the real Ghostbusters TV show, never played the games, but I do like the concept and I like the first movie quite a lot.
I'm not a fan. I'm an enjoyer. We're millennials. We're not Gen X, and it's a Gen X property.
It is very sacred to Gen Xers, and that movie kind of goes in that direction.
And it goes in that direction. This movie, I don't even think there's a smartphone in it. It's for all intents and purposes set in the 80s. There might be, I don't know, but yeah, I'm just saying there. But and you know, I get why the original Ghostbusters is so important. That was maybe the first comedy to use special effects like that. And the special effects were pretty groundbreaking for the time in a lot of ways. The designs are great. Bill Murray crushes it. The chemistry is chef's kiss with everything. And the concept is great. They're Ghostbusters or ghost hunters if you're in Spain.
Fucking underrated kind of creature in movies. Like we get horror movies that feature ghosts, but we don't get like a lot of adventure or action that features ghosts. And this is not like a horror film, it's a comedy.
No, not at
like,
all. And it's because Dan
is like a
Aykroyd's
creature
nuts.
without relying on like R-rated horror or jump scares or anything. Like I love ghosts. They're one of my favorite creatures, villains, whatever.
You're a Luigi's Mansion fan.
Yeah.
Luigi, this movie could have used more Luigi, but
yeah.
He should have showed up at the end instead of everyone else, but we'll
Dude,
get
that'd
to
be
that.
sick. Oh yeah, did you watch
voiced
the
by by Charlie Day or whatever?
Oh yeah. Did you watch the post-credit scene?
Yeah, I did, and we'll get to that.
Because that was
because of course
that was more than that was like the actual like ending to the film that they just put at the after the credits. It was weird.
I'm trying to even remember what the post-credit scene is. I know there's no. I remember now. Yeah, it wasn't even extra. It was actually pretty important.
Yeah.
I think. Wait a minute. I might be getting it confused with the post-credits of Ghostbusters 2016, which I also watched yesterday.
You watched that movie?
Yeah, and just to piss you off, I watched it in 3 sittings on my phone. Dude,
I could care less about that.
Well, that's kind of why I was like, well, I had to go to another town to get my green card. So I had like 2-hour train ride. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna watch. It wasn't that bad. It was especially for being on my phone, which is actually cracked right now. I don't even know if you can see that. Probably in black and white, definitely not. But I don't know. I might like that better in this movie, but we'll get to that. But that's not really about how much I like this movie as much as I was just I was about both of them. I never asked for a Ghostbusters sequel. I never asked for Ghostbusters 3. I like the old Ghostbusters. Zombieland is the best Ghostbusters sequel to me. Okay. Bill Murray's in it, if you didn't know.
This third Ghostbusters movie, first of all, I guess let's say that there was a 2016 reboot with all female cast instead of,
and it was too woke for my white pure blood ass. No, it was actually not.
There was groups of people that didn't want to watch it because they didn't want a Ghostbusters reboot and didn't ask for one, and it didn't look that good. And then you have the other side of folks that rejected it simply because it's le women. So
they're incel.
It's hard to like shit on it because you're worried people will be like, oh, he's like some fucking incel or something, you know.
That's honestly 90%. Other than this podcast, I've been meaning to watch that movie just to have an opinion on it, which is half the reason I watch movies these days, just so I can be part of the conversation. This bullshit, but it's not insufferably bad. I think a lot of the worst parts are in the trailer, which is part of the problem. You know, they take all of Leslie Nielsen's loudest moments, or not Leslie Nielsen's, Leslie Nielsen. I would love a Ghostbusters with Leslie Nielsen. He could probably play one of the ghosts because he's not alive. But I love that man. But no, like Leslie Jones's loudest moments, it's like, oh, she's a loud black stereotype. They're all in the trailer. In the movie, she's actually more even keeled. She has her moments when she does that, but she's an okay character, and it's thoroughly okay. But the problem with that movie, arguably, is that it is a true reboot, remake, gets rid of the original continuity, rehash of the same first movie, but in character creation, they switched it to female. Which is just,
like it has Zool and everything.
Not Zool. It doesn't have Zool. The bad guy is kind of an incel. So that's actually part of the weird part. It's the men, right? I mean, there's even an analog to the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. It's the Ghostbusters logo. It's the shambling corpse of this franchise. But that was the whole thing.
Back up from that mic a little bit, my friend.
Okay, sorry.
It's going bananas.
Okay.
But that's interesting. I didn't know any of that. I watched
because nobody watched it. They just shat on it.
I watched a few scenes from it. I watched the Bill Murray cameo and some other stuff.
Stupid. All the cameos in these movies are stupid.
Whatever.
Take me out of it. And why wouldn't he do Ghostbusters 3, but he'd do that crap? Probably because it was a day of shooting and he got paid $1 million for one day of work. That's how Bruce Willis does it now. He'll show up for one day on those DVD, like straight to DVD movies, so they can put him on the cover, and they pay him $1 million, which is still like $600K after taxes. So
it's insane.
It's nuts. And Lord knows he has some money in offshore accounts, so who knows how much he's keeping. So this movie, it's set in the modern day, not the 80s, but it might as well be. It's a town stuck in the past.
Oklahoma town.
Is it in Oklahoma?
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't even pick up on that.
Yeah, and the plot is Harold Ramis's character. He passed away in 2014, by the way, if you didn't know, listening. But his character, played by someone pretty convincing, I'd say.
He's in shadows the whole time, but
he's in shadows, but like he's living on some shitty dirt farm, and he has a ghost attack and he ends up getting killed, which I thought was pretty baller. To like the way like he just like passes and you see the spirit fly over. I was like, damn, okay. I like that imagery of the spirit flying out because it reminds me of like I don't know, like Danny Phantom or something.
You do like ghosts. You're
I love
the
ghosts,
biggest Danny
dude.
Phantom fan.
I'm telling you, Danny Phantom and Luigi's Mansion, boy.
I feel like part of the problem with Ghostbusters is everybody's attached to the original Ghostbusters. When I feel just have not the TV show Ghost Hunters, but have ghost hunters in a movie, but they're not Ghostbusters.
Yeah, exactly. Well, or like the post-credit scene was setting up like a new generation of like just hire like people to bust ghosts and like it be a business again. Like that's just something maybe in this universe needs to be a thing. Like just like
it needs
like a
to
plumber.
Be like a plumber. I was gonna say like a witcher, like they hunt monsters, but instead of that,
but because
I get it.
It's just weird because like in this universe, there's definitive proof that ghosts exist, and some shit happened in the 80s that like all the adults know about, and like the kids are like, whoa, this is crazy.
That was unbelievable to me. And the movie even lampshades it. They're kind of like, because Paul Rudd's character, Paul Rudd might have been my favorite part of this movie just because he was Paul Rudd. He wasn't even a character, he was just Paul Rudd. But
reading an Avengers comic.
Oh, was he? I didn't even notice. I thought it was just a comic. I didn't even see what it was. Oh, because he's Ant-Man. Oh, get it?
I've seen this movie more than you.
Have you seen? How many times have you seen it?
I just, I've seen it all the way through once, but
you
theater, I've seen bits and pieces. Just
walk in there. Okay. No, we're gonna get that crossover in the Ghostbusters and the Avengers. Some spectral horror
with Men in Black and Ray Skywalker and like everybody.
It's Speed Racer.
Yeah.
But
what are we even talking about?
Paul Rudd and the kids don't know what it is, even though one of the kids is into the paranormal. He has a 100+ episode podcast, more than this piece of crap, about the paranormal, and doesn't know about the giant, like all the crazy stuff with the Ghostbusters, which only has like 40,000 views on YouTube. In the movie,
crazy.
It
would have been a side plot that would have taken too long, but like, oh shit, all this ghost shit in the past was covered up by the government or something. I don't know.
That's it. That's a subplot in Ghostbusters 2016.
Oh, really?
So so I guess it's plausible. And but, also, if people could be like, well, there's a logical explanation for all of this.
Yeah.
Herp de derp. But
so anyway,
I don't know the plot. There's fucking it's Egon Spindler. It's his son
Spengler.
Or his daughter. So his grandkids really. They get the torch passed to. They go to the house. They inherit the farm. They get the equipment. They start busting ghosts. That's the
But
fucking movie.
well, no, that's not just the movie.
No, that's all the movie.
The mom, she doesn't give a shit about her dad. She feels abandoned by him and doesn't know anything.
Who did
Like-
Egon impregnate?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't.
Or was
think-
it like a?
I don't think it
Anakin
was the
with Force thing?
secretary. I think
No,
she
it
would know
wasn't.
her mom. You know.
No. I think it was just some chick he hooked up with at an academic conference, probably.
Yeah. He had a threesome with Bill Murray, and it just went wrong.
With Dan Aykroyd.
Oh,
Dan
yeah.
Aykroyd's the mother.
Yeah, she doesn't give a shit about her dad, but she's like, oh shit. She's literally getting evicted at the beginning of the movie, which I was like, damn. At least that adds a little character development, you know.
I mean, the Ghostbusters being broke that's a theme. And that's what I
Yeah,
like
but she's
about
like
them.
a struggling mom, and she has no choice but to move to this shitty fucking town that her dad died in. So, you know,
So-
I like that aspect. I like her. She has two kids, a teenager and she's like 12 or 13, maybe younger.
In the movie, she's 12.
Okay,
The
she's
actress
12.
is like 13. McKenna Grace and Finn
Yes,
Wolfhard.
I want to talk about Phoebe because
Who's
that
really
little,
the main character in this movie, way
Yeah.
more than Finn Wolfhard.
yeah,
She has like 4
yeah,
to 1
the granddaughter
screen
of Egon. Her name's Phoebe, and let me tell you, she gives the performance of a little kid's lifetime because how similar she is to Harold Ramis's mannerisms without being related to him was like shocking to me.
time.
was
It's
really
pretty
good.
impressive. I mean, her character is, I don't know if it's a bad thing, but she's very simple in the fact that she is, I don't know, she is a little, nerd girl, science girl. That's her character. Like,
Yeah, but
hard to show
it's like it's
emotion.
well done. It's not annoying or
she's not
fake. It's
overly
very-
precocious.
it's very like cute, but not in like a cutesy little girl way, in like a
She-
sophisticated, actually smart, fleshed out 12-year-old character. I think I like her a lot. And
Well, imagine you cast a 14-year-old for this movie. How many 14-year-olds could do that role, and how hard do they look for her? You know,
yeah, it really well casting because she got it down to like a science. Get it? No, with
Right.
like being Egon's granddaughter. I was floored because some little kids, their acting is just you
Jake
kind of just
Lloyd.
have to turn an eye, to it, like, whatever. But
Yeah.
man, she's the star of the show. And Finn Wolfhard is fine. I've never seen Stranger Things, but I feel like he was all right.
He was fine. He's technically an adult now. I looked up his age. He's
Oh,
like
yeah.
19 or something.
But they
He's a
shot this like
15-year-old.
3 years ago
Is it 3 years ago?
or 2 or 3.
2 or 3.
It was supposed to come out last summer, so they would have shot it probably early 2019.
Okay. So,
But,
still, he's about 18.
Yeah, so they have to go to this shitty town, and that's the part that I like the most because I'm a big fan of
Shitty towns.
coming
Did you
of
live in
age
in
adventure
Arkansas?
or mystery, stuff like that. And so I like to see that kind of stuff. That's where I was like, okay, I kind of am enjoying this movie more than I thought I would for a while. And Finn Wolfhard, what's his name in the movie? I don't remember. Trevor. He sees a nice looking girl. He wants to work it there, has a summer job. It's a summer movie. It's a shame it didn't actually get to come out in the summer, but it definitely feels summer. They go to that burger joint and get burgers on their window, like in the 50s,
Because nostalgia.
But here's the thing. The film was directed by Jason Reitman, the son of Ivan Reitman, who's still alive. So I assume he watched this movie. I wonder what he thought.
Oh, I thought he was dead.
But normally Jason Reitman makes indie movies, and that's another trend in Hollywood today, is giving some indie filmmaker a $200 million movie instead of um, getting someone that makes middle budget to go up to big. There needs to be a step in between.
Well, this is actually only a $75 million movie.
Okay, but it's still a huge franchise film.
It is. Well, it's a smaller budget because Ghostbusters 2016, that was like 150 million, 200 million, because they just blew money on it. Yeah. And if they had a more modest budget, they probably could have made more of a profit. But and honestly, this movie is more in tune with the original budget of the original Ghostbusters, weirdly enough.
Right.
Jason Reitman, I forgot, he directed Juno, Thank You for Smoking. The argument is that you get an indie director who they have talent, but they have less clout, so they're less likely to argue with the studio or producers or cause drama, and they also have a smaller director's fee. That's a big reason that trend exists.
But the only difference is that it is the son of the director of Ghostbusters. And so, he has a reverence for the material. He probably want to be careful with it. So, there were critics saying, like, why treat the Ghostbusters like, holy texts instead of making it just, a comedy like the original and like this and that. And I get it. And I was very agreeing with that. But then I watched the movie. I understand if your dad made this movie in the 80s and now you're growing up making movies, you would treat it like holy texts. So I can see why he went in that direction of like creating the myth and having it what?
But is that the best direction for the film?
I can't say that's the best direction for the film, but it could be a lot worse.
Well, this movie could be a lot worse, to be fair. It's more,
I don't mind. Once I finally watched the movie, yes, I wish they would have not done Zool and all the same shit from the first one.
No, I hated the fact that it was Gozer
but
and Zool.
I do respect the way they treated it like this myth, and she was like very interested to figure out who her grandfather was in that way, and because she doesn't believe in ghosts, she doesn't believe any of that, and
she ain't afraid no ghosts. That's a line Dan Aykroyd as a cab driver says in Ghostbusters 2016.
Oh shit,
it's
really
bad. I'm tired of cameos. CG Luke Skywalker, Ivan Reitman handing a lightsaber to Jason Reitman.
That's the problem, is that it's such a mixed bag of, I like the characters, I like the setting, I like the thought of figuring out Ghostbusters shit, but it doesn't have to have Zool and the fucking Keymaster and Gatekeeper and all that.
But
it does.
This is where we are.
And what would you do differently, I guess, than
other than not make this movie?
If you didn't go with the villains of the first movie.
I really like the idea, and I know we have to get there. We have to franchise out the Ghostbusters, but you're gonna have to get there if you're gonna do a full reboot. Hell, you could even have the old Ghostbusters retiring, but the Ghostbuster, it's still alive as a brand,
Yeah.
So maybe they like franchised out, and then there's corporate drama, because this is like, it's always Ghostbusters. It's always about the government interfering with small business. See, because the fucking 4 minutes that Bill Murray's on screen in this movie, he's funnier than the rest of the movie combined. Yeah. And he's like, not even, I don't even feel like he's trying that hard.
Like, I would have watched an old Ghostbusters movie. Like, I can understand wanting to get young blood in it, but why does young blood in these kinds of movies always have to be the center focus? I think if you switched it up and kind of had the old men as the lead, and then pass it off the more you go into the movie. And by the end of the movie, the young blood can take over, and there can be a sequel or 3 or 4 or 5 sequels, but at least,
See, I want to only have the old blood in the first act, maybe in the first like 15 minutes. Okay. Like not
I
too
know,
much.
but just like one last bust.
Let's bust one last time, guys.
I don't know.
We haven't busted in 30 years.
But it would be interesting to have like corporate drama, and maybe because the post-credit scene ends.
Ghosts are on the blockchain. I don't know.
Oh.
There's like a shitty, they go into the afterlife and it's like the metaverse or something.
The film ends with I don't even remember his name. What's his name?
Who?
The fourth POC
Egon?
Ghostbuster. No.
The fourth POC Ghostbuster, you said? The freaking Ernie.
Yeah, Ernie.
Ernie
Ernie
Hudson, who
plays
Ernie
Winston. Hudson. What's the what's Bill Murray's character's name? Peter Venkman.
Yeah, Peter Venkman.
Okay.
Ray. It's Peter, Ray, Egon, and Winston.
Yeah, shows you how much I'm dedicated. But
I have the IMDb page up.
No, I remember Venkman. Lore. Okay, Ray. Okay. So Ernie, the film, the after credit scene ends with Ernie. He's a big corporate guy now. He's a successful businessman, but he says how he has a heart for the Ghostbusters, how he'll always be a Ghostbuster. He gets the car back and puts it into the old garage, and he talks about, the business and stuff. And it seems like it's leading up to him revitalizing the business, which could take us into a plot for a sequel that would be similar to what we're talking about.
That's where they're going. They just wanted to set it up and test.
That'd be more interesting to me than
that'd be more interesting to me. Ghostbusters worldwide.
If they could have
Ghostbusters Hong Kong.
If they could have expanded on the adventure aspect of this one with the kids and have a different villain, maybe more mystery elements involved, it could have been a stronger film. But I do like a lot of what we got from those characters.
Well, if the mystery that they're unraveling is the mystery of a movie that we watched already, then essentially you're putting that mystery of who were the original Ghostbusters there in for kids of parents who were watching this movie, parents who were taking their kids to this movie or whatever, which right. I understand, but Ghostbusters is on Netflix, so you can watch that first, because then it's not interesting for me as an audience member to watch somebody find out something I already know.
Yeah,
there's no tension, there's no thread, as opposed to the original Ghostbusters when they're learning about Gozer and all this Sumerian stuff, which, by the way, is so well phrased. I remember Googling, like, is Gozer a real Sumerian god? No, it's something they made up.
Yeah.
But it feels insane, even with, I'll even say Vigo the Carpathian in Ghostbusters 2. It feels like a real ancient menace.
Yeah.
And this just feels like more Gozer.
Yeah.
So there's no mystery in, like, who is this? Is this a god? Is this a person of malevolence being summoned by J.K. Simmons? J.K. Simmons is the guy who.
Yeah. And we get glimpses into these things, but we don't. If they would have somehow expanded on the backstory or world building of these characters, then, but it was just like, oh, here it is. Remember this? We got to stop this.
But if you want to make a franchise, if you want to make 3 movies, you have to make 1 movie and cut it into thirds. That's what The Hobbit told us. Okay. That's what all of this told us.
Yeah.
So you can't tell a whole story. You can have an entire situation. You can have an entire spectacle, but like an entire plot, a whole yarn, the whole thread. No.
Well, I do like the scenes of her figuring out the technology and stuff. And I like that that ghost muncher actually looks, it looks CGI, but it doesn't look painfully CGI. I couldn't tell.
No, it doesn't.
And the what are those dog things called from the original?
It's Gozer. That's the keymaster
Oh
and
yeah, yeah,
the
that shit.
gatekeeper.
The close-ups on there, I want to say it looked like animatronics,
I think it did. I think it was.
which was nice.
It was nice for the close up to have that.
So at least it didn't look cartoonish in that
No,
regard.
no, not at all. The special effects are
But
generally good, especially for a mid-budget movie like this.
yeah,
But that's the thing. All special effects are most special effects are good at this point.
yeah,
It's 2021. We got Unreal Engine 5 and stuff coming up. The on the side note on the scene where Gozer's chasing him through the Walmart, which is product placement, but Walmart is such a small town Oklahoma thing, it makes sense
yeah, it did. But
because
here's what doesn't make sense. But yeah, go for it. What?
are you about to say the Stay Puft Marshmallow?
Yeah. How does
Because
that make any
that's
sense?
because it's a manifestation of Ray's childhood anxiety in the first
Yeah,
one.
in the
So it doesn't
first one, that has no reason why they would appear in this one 30 years
um
later.
for the trailer. Here's the thing. That was weirdly one of my favorite parts of the movie, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
I really liked that all of the Stay Puft Marshmallow mini men were trying to kill each other and toast each other and blend each other. I don't know why. It was such a moment of stupid levity. And it just also it calls back to in commercials when the anthropomorphized food is like, eat me, I want to be eaten. And it's really weird because like, why would you want to die? I
Yeah.
think this is making fun of that in a weird way, intentionally or not. Just something stupid about.
I get it. I like it, but it doesn't make sense.
No,
Why
it
they
doesn't
would
make
be
any
Stay Puft.
sense. And
But
within the logic
also,
of the movie, it's
I
Gozer, I guess, uses his magic to distract Paul Rudd. I don't know. I don't know.
okay, but here's the thing. They ripped off Kevin Smith's film Yoga Hosers
With the Bratzies, the
with the
Bratwurst
Bratzies.
Nazis.
For people at home don't know, Kevin Smith made this terrible movie with his daughter called Yoga Hosers.
And Johnny Depp's daughter.
Yeah, and Johnny Depp's daughter. And they work in a convenience store. And all the bratwursts turn into little mini Nazis and fuck shit up, and they have to kill them. And I would say Ghostbusters may have pulled it off better, but the similarities are closer than you would think.
Well, I haven't seen Yoga Hosers because I have taste, but
That's pretty
even Kevin Smith kind of knows that movie is garbage.
yeah. Did
Which
he even give it a second pass when he wrote it? Like,
he didn't.
no, I
Who
said,
does
did
that?
he? Joke.
Oh,
Like,
okay.
it's just like, what the fuck?
But
Right after making this experimental art house horror with A24.
what, the Tusk or Red
Yeah.
State? Tusk.
Tusk.
I like Tusk.
I love that movie.
I wrote about Tusk in the university paper.
Yeah.
But you could argue that goes back to even something like Gremlins, just the little monsters messing stuff up, but being cute.
I know.
But it is even. I said this to you before. It does reek of Yoga Hosers and Bratzies.
Yeah, Paul Rudd. For someone
he Paul Rudd's the.
I'm gonna
out
say
of this
for
movie.
someone who mainly plays the same kind of guy in every movie, he does it very well.
Yeah, he does.
He's just a very likable guy. He's like an uncle I never had or something.
It's like I want to be Paul Rudd when I grow up.
I want to hang out with Paul Rudd.
I want to be 50 and look
'Cause,
35.
I like the idea of, well, you feel bad for him because he's a seismologist or whatever, and he's doing some shitty summer school program. And but you gotta respect him for putting on R-rated slasher movies for kids to watch. But the connection he has with Phoebe is nice because she's like, "Oh, you're a seismologist." She's like, "Oh shit, you know what that is?" And then they talk about that,
Yeah, I'm Egon Spindler's granddaughter.
And he, pussy is probably hard to come by in that town, so of course he's gonna go after the mom.
Yeah,
I get it.
Of course, it's that or your sister in a town like that.
Pussy. I know that word might be a little raunchy.
Whoa, we're gonna get demonetized. All the movie we
No,
get.
but yeah, Paul Rudd's good. But like when he's like all shirtless and shit, like turning the machine on and all that, he's like, taken over by the spirits. It's just a really funny image to me. So that's successful in my eyes. That works. I just, yeah, that Stay Puft thing, when I saw it in the trailer, I was like, oh, it'll probably make sense when you watch the movie why there would be more Stay Puft men. No,
Oh, they're
it's
not
just
gonna
for nostalgia.
take time to
What?
do that. They're not gonna take time to
Oh, yeah,
explain
yeah.
the residual psychic energies of Ray from his childhood. A herp-a-derp-a-derp-a-derp.
Yeah, poor Ray. Like, Ernie's working this awesome fucking job, and Ray's stuck in some shitty shop, fucking old and fat.
He's making money selling that skull vodka.
Oh, yeah.
That's right. No, but Dan Aykroyd in real life is a huge ufologist, UFOologist, cryptid. I mean, that's how he came up with Ghostbusters.
Yeah.
He actually, I read that the original treatment for Ghostbusters, they had to pare it down because it would have been like Star Wars budget, because it was them in like almost like Green Lantern Corps, interdimensional ghost busting sort of stuff, which I'm actually down as hell for that. But
that's what they need to do next.
oh, they'll get there. No, after the next one, they'll go galactic. Ghost busting galactic.
Ghosts on other planets.
Dude, alien ghosts. Can I say something about that? The Slimer. First of all, I learned Slimer from Ghostbusters 1. They based off John Belushi, which, Jesus, no wonder that guy did drugs to death. Like, that's insulting. But secondly, there's that ghost in this movie that's basically Slimer 2.0 that eats all that metal. And I was wondering, is this just some random malevolent spirit, or was this a person who died? Because we see other spirits who look humanoid, but then I'm assuming there's other gods and spirits and stuff. Or it's not just somebody who died and started eating metal in the afterlife, like somebody with pica or pica died. Like
it's some weird creature.
I'm dissatisfied with the internal logic of Ghostbusters lore.
That's a shame. Yeah, they should borrow from Danny Phantom and like have like a ghost zone and like a portal and like explain. I don't know.
There's got to be a ghost zone. They go into the ghost zone briefly in 2016.
What?
That's kind of cool. Yeah, they go into the ghost zone.
Dude, yeah. The day they make a Danny Phantom movie is the day that I don't know.
That you what?
I don't know. I need to write like a treatment and then sell it.
Okay. Get that Viacom money.
Yeah. Dude, yeah. If there was one franchise that I was tapped to write, it would be Danny Phantom. Like, fucking Butch Hartman's out of his element now. He's a fucking old prick. Let me do it. He'll just try and convert it into some sort of Christian theology bullshit.
See, the afterlife is real, kids, and here's how you get there.
But yeah.
So the whole point of Egon being in this town is that this town is the focal point. Basically, it's a backup plan. Every few years, the numinous barriers, the liminal spaces between the spirit world and ours get weaker. And that's when stuff starts crossing over. And he knows that J.K. Simmons, the old guy, the guy who summoned Gozer in the first movie, basically, that he's going to try to summon Gozer again at this backup site, not on a Manhattan high rise. And so he has spent the whole time kind of setting it up to suppress this and keep it from happening. Okay. And then he tries to, his ghost is giving information to Phoebe, the girl, playing chess with her and stuff, which I thought was neat, actually.
I like it. It had a charming 80s Spielberg kind of thing
all over this movie, 80s Spielbergian, which is as much as a nostalgia bait as that is. And sometimes I wonder if that America ever really existed. But I do miss the family kids saving the world genre.
Yes. And that's why I'm glad even though the movie's a mixed bag, I'm glad it's out and has made money because it's just it's different. It'll make kids realize that there's more than just Marvel and Star Wars, like for big budget movies.
Yeah, for sure.
Because yeah, there's not enough of that. And Super 8 came out in 2011, but that's already a whole generation ago. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that movie's mid, if you ask
That's
me.
that's probably J.J. Abrams' best film in my opinion.
Which is saying something.
I like that movie a lot.
I like Star Trek 09.
And a lot of kids like that movie. It's a shame the children in the movie didn't really go anywhere.
I think the chick did.
What chick? Oh yeah, she was a big deal before the movie came out.
The rest of them,
a ton of shit. What's
her
name?
Ain't gonna be no Super 9.
But yeah, it is a shame a movie like Super 8, which made more money than this has so far.
But that's when people went to theaters.
Yeah, well, I wish it would have revitalized that kind of genre. We need more adventure movies with teenagers and kids. That's all I'm saying.
We got Stranger Things, and then are there Stranger Things knockoffs? I don't know, probably.
Like what?
We got Reservation Dogs on Netflix or on Hulu if you want to watch Indians in Oklahoma.
I'm talking about like adventure.
Oh, not poverty.
With possibly, like it doesn't have to have fantasy or sci-fi, but it helps.
Yeah, or they're fighting pirates.
Or pirates, or
kids fighting pirates, man.
Anything like that. Yeah.
Ninjas,
Hook,
3 ninjas.
How do you feel about Hook?
I rewatched it actually not too long ago. There's a lot of potential in that movie. I loved it as a child. One of my favorite childhood movies. There's a lot of good ideas. They just don't coalesce. Here's the thing. A weak Spielberg is still better than 95% of movies. That's a fact. And I know Spielberg, it's very like hipster freshman film school. Oh, Spielberg's overrated. Okay. I don't care. And
it's overrated when you're fucking 19 and all you watch is Eraserhead.
It's like, okay, you go make Jaws. You go do it.
Yeah.
You reinvent the industry. And also I feel like a lot of the backlash is how, and this somewhat goes for Lucas, how he changed movie making and the business of movie making, which is partially his fault, but the cheap imitators are not his fault. Okay.
Right.
Because he did something well and people cheaply imitate it. There's a lot of crappy teen movies. That doesn't mean John Hughes is any weaker as a director for it.
Right. Of course.
Okay.
And Hollywood is American history and older films. It's Americana, and that's Spielberg is capturing Americana. And so
he's a boomer.
We need a little more Americana, I feel like, in these summer movies, adventure movies.
Because you and we're from a flyover state. We're from Arkansas.
Right.
And it's I didn't even know it was Oklahoma, but yeah, I can kind of relate more to this movie than I can in a movie set in New York. I've been to New York. I've never lived in New York. I don't know what it's like to be a New Yorker. And I'm not from a town this small, but I know what it's like to be from middle America.
Right.
I don't know. Increasing urbanization of the population, though.
And yeah, that's my reason that I want kids to go out and see it. Yes, it's a mixed bag. Yes, there's a lot of studio decisions that come from a boardroom comparing to other things like The Force Awakens, but it has enough in it. No, it's not as good as the first original, but it has enough in it to where you'll have a good time with your family at the movies.
Is it better than Ghostbusters 2?
I don't know. I should have rewatched Ghostbusters 2.
It's fine.
But
I don't think it is.
I don't know. What is it about Ghostbusters 2 that people don't like? I barely even remember it.
I think it's more the same. I think it was really built up after 5 years. I think sequels were rarer back then.
Yeah.
They think some of the plot is rehashed.
It's weird that it took them 5 years to make a follow-up.
Yeah, well, and then so I think it was more of just a dud. It wasn't like it sucked. It was just like all this build up and then blood. And they've really had trouble making Ghostbusters sequels, and in ways, this is probably the most successful one, at least from a franchise perspective. Again, I'm of the mind if they had never made anything but Ghostbusters 1, I would have been happy with it. I
Sure.
think that's a pretty airtight, self-contained, I'm not going to say perfect, but for what it is, perfect movie, if that makes sense. Not
Right.
that it's a
Yeah.
perfect piece of filmmaking, but like Ghostbusters, I can't really imagine that movie being better than it is. You know, I don't have any real complaints about Ghostbusters, which I haven't seen the first Ghostbusters in years, but I've enjoyed that movie. Can we talk about the ending of this movie?
Yeah.
Unless you have anything else to add.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? I don't even remember. It's okay.
If you, we can get back to it if you come to it. Okay. So they have the climactic battle at the farm. I do appreciate. So one of the problems, I feel like even pre-Avengers, Ghostbusters did the Manhattan top of a building thing just as well or better. And then since the Avengers, that's been sky lasers and shit. And then, but
Sky portals.
Ghostbusters 2016, there's an army of ghosts in Manhattan, and part of my problem with that movie is that they're shooting them up. And one of the things I like about Ghostbusters is that they trap ghosts. They don't like just pew pew laser the ghosts and they explode, which that kind of happens in Ghostbusters 2016.
That's what I liked about this one, is that it was a real struggle to capture ghosts.
Yeah, even like a small ghost, which it should be. They're supernatural beings.
Yeah.
You know, that's something I didn't like about 2016, sidetrack. But they really go the big Manhattan climax route. And in this one, I'm glad they're just like, oh, we're on a farm. Let's set some traps. Yeah. We're a family. We have few means. Okay. And I appreciate that. And, you know, Gozer is a god. So it should be difficult for children to fight.
Non-binary villain.
Oh, no. They even have a line. It's eye rolling, but it is kind of true. The chick is like, one of the chicks is like, whoa, pretty woke for 6,000 BC or something like that. It's like, okay. And that's actually pretty common in older religions. You have kind of a non
I don't give a fuck. Gozer's sexy as fuck. Anyone can quote me on that.
The new Gozer does look like the old Gozer.
Yeah.
But the
film haircut, sexy. Would never date me in a million years.
Yeah, because it's a 6,000-year-old deity.
Yeah, whatever you got to tell to rationalize it, Scott. That's fine.
Okay. Probably a selfish lover anyway, but I can't imagine Gozer's. Anyway, the old Ghostbusters show up. That's what I want to get to.
Right.
They Deus Ex Machina the hell out of this film, and that's probably my biggest complaint in the movie. They show up out of nowhere.
Yeah, there's one scene with Dan Aykroyd, and she uses her one phone call, and the guy at the jail's like, "Who are you gonna call?"
Yeah, and I almost shot myself in the middle of the theater.
Yeah. So she talks to Dan Aykroyd, and she mentions who she is, and Dan Aykroyd's like, "Oh, okay." There should have been one more scene in between that to allude to the fact that the Ghostbusters are on their way. It doesn't even have to be explicitly clear, just something that's hinting like, what's going on?
There was nothing. There was absolutely nothing. And I still don't understand how they found out that this was happening or why all four of them showed up in full Ghostbusters gear. I was impressed they were able to get all four of them back. Bill Murray's been the holdout. Bill Murray's apparently kind of a diva.
Harold Ramis is dead, but yes.
Well, Harold Ramis is dead. They had to Moff Tarkin CGI him.
Yeah.
Which was still makes me feel weird.
I don't know how much of him was. I think it's just a lookalike with added effects.
Oh, I thought it was purely CGI.
Nah, I don't know.
In the end, not in the beginning where it was some guy in the shadows. I don't know.
He looked really good. So
it did look like him. I
hope it's not like a CGI replication.
They did. He talked, or he didn't talk is what I meant to say.
That is the thing. It's a weird concept to like have the mom finally like reconnect with her dad, even though he's a ghost and dead. But I think on some levels it works.
it's kind of a beautiful concept. It's just
Yeah, it's just
weird
weird.
CGI Egon is odd to me.
Yeah,
And all the callbacks, and I know they're veteran Ghostbusters. Also, they kind of look, dude, they look old as shit.
they look
Like,
old as fuck. It was
and they
so
are.
funny.
Dude, Dan
But it
Aykroyd's
doesn't
fat,
matter
not
to
like
me
fatter.
for Bill Murray because it's Bill Murray. And like I said earlier in the cast, like the 4 minutes he's on screen, he's funnier than the whole movie. It's like, damn, if we could have gotten more of this.
Just casually. It's like I don't
Yeah.
even feel like he's trying that hard. He's just casually that funny, which is his
Yeah.
character too. Peter Venkman's such a good, just all of his lines in the first movie are so good.
Yeah. And it to their credit, when the Ghostbusters were on screen, they did feel like the Ghostbusters.
They did. They did.
So it wasn't just like there wasn't as like a disconnect between the actor and the character. I was like, oh, it's actually them. Okay.
And what the heck has Ernie Hudson been doing?
Fucking balling out in his awesome business adventures.
I'm not talking about Ernie Hudson, the actor. I'm talking about Ernie Hudson.
Oh yeah,
I mean
yeah.
the actor, not the character. He's been in a bunch of stuff. He's been in
the
Arrow.
actor, yeah.
He's been in a bunch of TV stuff. That's good. Voice. He's in God's Not Dead too. That's nice.
Oh no.
Yeah,
So-
Rick Moranis didn't come back. Rick Moranis is still here. We need
That's
him.
for the. I'm glad he's stayed retired.
Why?
Rick Moranis,
Yeah.
because like he doubled down. Because usually Hollywood's like, no, come on, just do this cheap cameo, please. And they're like, all right, fine, quit bothering.
He's
me.
like, nah, man.
Rick Moranis is like, no, I'm done.
I've got kids. I'm gonna do it. This is a side note, but I remember talking to some other comics one time, and they were like, most of us, I think we're probably gonna at most have like a Rick Moranis career. And I looked at this chick, I was like, you know how many dicks I would suck to get a Rick Moranis career? Like, you say that like it's a small thing. The fact that we know I'd be excited to be caught number 3 in a movie.
Yeah, for real.
The ghost, but that actually really soured me on the entire movie. The Ghostbusters showing up, I couldn't do it.
Oh, really?
I don't know.
At the end?
Yeah, it just.
I mean, you knew
thing.
it was going to happen.
Not like that. I really didn't think they'd do that. It felt so cheap and unearned. They didn't say how it was here. It just felt like, look, we're here, guys, to save the day.
Yeah.
It cheapens the arc of all the other characters to have the old characters come and save the day like that.
Yeah. I mean, logically though, they were pretty shit out of, it's like a 12-year-old kid who's leading this like attack,
Yeah.
So I understand, but also it is very cheap. If they could have just built up to it, like I said, just a little bit more, it would have made it that much, better.
As negative, and my favorite part of this movie was just being at the movie theater, if that makes any sense. It was one of those movies. I haven't been in a couple months. I've just been so busy, and it's the closest movie theater is like 30 minutes away from me. So
man,
I kind of the closest like good movie theater. Yeah, I got to take like 2 metro lines to get to it. So that's one reason I don't go to the movies. If I want to go to like a movie theater with a really big screen, I have to go 45 minutes, and that's one way. So that's an hour and a half of travel time. Then like 2.5 hours in the movie theater. It adds up.
Yeah.
So that was my favorite time. That being said, I hope that they make another Ghostbusters now if they're gonna do this.
Now they got all the nostalgia bait out of the way.
Yeah,
now they can make something maybe fresh.
Yeah,
that's the problem, is that there is a little fresh stuff in here, but it gets bogged down by the last third of the film.
No, I want them to not franchise Ghostbusters the franchise, but franchise Ghostbusters.
Yes.
I want Ghostbusters. I want it to be like CSI. I want like Ghostbusters Miami.
Or expand on the concept, which is what the second Jurassic World did. You got the first Jurassic World, which is basically Jurassic Park, but for 2015, and then Jurassic World, the second one, it doubled down on the dumbness, but tripled the entertainment. instead of being some cheap copy, it's like, let's go bananas, stupid,
Should
and
I watch those movies?
have all this crazy shit happen. And then by the end of that one, the stakes are high as fuck. Because the third one is going to be the literal Jurassic World, because like all these things have escaped into the real world. So now there's going to be dinosaurs around the earth.
Yeah, dinosaurs in Shanghai and New York and everywhere.
Yeah, that's why I'm looking forward to that one, because like the second one just goes full.
Yeah,
I can't
I'm
say
cool
the
with
word I
that.
want to say, but
Chris
it's
Pratt
insane.
will convert them to Christianity or something.
He'll be like,
We'll
wait a
see.
minute.
Let's see. This movie, it's doubled its budget and it's had pretty good advertising. They're advertising it at the bus stops around
Yeah.
here. But it'll probably do enough streaming rights, stuff like that, merchandising. I feel like a lot of
I
the
think
original
so.
Ghostbusters
For
is merchandising.
for pandemic standards, it's doing pretty well.
For
It's not
pandemic
doing as well
standards.
as Shang-Chi or Fast 9,
No,
but
but that's those are the two biggest franchises in Hollywood right now. Fast and
right.
Furious, Marvel.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I kind of feel like that's, speaking of movie news, that's kind of how I feel about the second Sonic movie. They
Oh
got
yeah.
all the nostalgia bait gags, Hollywood bullcrap out of the way, and now they're like, all right, let's make the movie we wanted to make the first time
It's
with
still
none of
not going
these
to be as
details.
wacky and crazy as I want it to be, though.
No, I want it to, I mean, honestly, I just want it to be a cartoon. Just make it a
Yeah.
cartoon.
Right.
But we'll do that.
But at least, yeah, you got Eggman going full bananas.
Dude, yeah, I want banana Jim Carrey.
See, there's certain things in this Ghostbusters movie from before I saw it, I thought would be cheap studio decisions, like stupid. But the way that some of them were handled, I was surprised with, like the boy who is named Podcast. And when you hear that at first, you're like, they have a character in this movie called Podcast. What a
It
stupid
surprisingly
thing.
works.
2021. It works simply because he's a dork who calls himself that because he makes his stupid little podcasts. And he's like, oh, yeah. The fact, because that's something a little 12-year-old kid would do.
Should I change my name to podcast? Would that help? Would that help this
And
podcast?
I like that
Should I
kid.
change my name to the Mooring Line Harbor?
That kid had a personality that brought enough to it as like a sidekick to Phoebe.
Yeah, he was fun.
The way he like casually jokes about some of the lore that's going on with whatever that mountain is or whatever.
The mountain.
He just casually drops lore in a very kid 12-year-old way that I like. I don't know. Good addition.
So overall, you sound like you're pretty positive on the movie.
I'm positive in a way that it didn't piss me the fuck off. It wasn't boring, and it is a very mixed bag, but there's enough stuff in there that I like that I would urge families to go see, so we can get more adventure movies like this for the modern family.
And this is for families. It's not for single.
Yeah, there was like
seeing it alone.
There was this dork walking out of the movie with his friends who were all like wearing Ghostbusters merch and stuff. He's like, wasn't as good as the first one. I was like, you went into this movie thinking that it would surpass the first one, and you're stupid. Mad at that?
You're stupid.
Like, what?
I'm sure there was my theater wasn't that full. I mean, I saw it matinee on a Sunday, 2:00, but there was some, a guy like me, a single guy to my left, a couple of young women, American women to my right, who were laughing at inopportune moments. It was kind of distracting. But there was a group of friends behind me and a family in the front, some British family, and I bet that kid loved it.
Right. And I would say, if you're gonna go see it by yourself, I know you had to see it because you wanted to talk about the cast, but I'm saying if someone here is like interested and they want to go see it, I'd say if you're going by yourself, you can wait for it to come out on streaming. But if you want to see it in the theater, go with like a family or a group of people, just for that. It has that feeling. That's what it's made for. The family. Americana. It's only for us, only for Americans. No, but just man, think of all the cool movies that came out when we were kids that were not related to sci-fi or Marvel or superheroes. We had all kinds of franchises. We had Harry Potter, we had Lord of the Rings, we had fucking
Soon it'll all be one.
Shrek.
It'll all be one franchise called entertainment.
Yeah, we just and like a lot of like kids movies like Quest for Camelot and Anastasia, and just I don't know, there's a variety. So to me, this is the bare minimum of doing something different, but it's enough to where it was on my radar. So yeah,
I don't know. You can skip it. Wait till it's on streaming.
Yeah,
That's
especially with what else is coming out now. We had West Side Story, which I don't want to watch, sadly, because I can't get over the fact that the main character is a rapist in real life, allegedly, of course.
But
it distracts me. And then there's Spider-Man, which will be our next review, the big one, the big boy, Spider-Man, and then Matrix, which I am actually very excited for. That movie's gonna hopefully rule.
I'm curious.
If they do it right, it could fucking rule. So look forward to those movies, everyone listening. This is kind of just a in-between episode while waiting for the biggest movie of the year. It could be a Force Awakens, or not. It could be a Rise of Skywalker scenario, or it could be a Into the Spider-Verse scenario, and where it actually just surprisingly pulls everything off really well. I was rewatching Spider-Verse last night, and I was like, damn, this is one of the best comic book movies of all time. So we'll see. But yeah, thanks everyone for watching. We'll see you next week.
Man,
they didn't bring back the Ecto Cooler drink this time, the High C. I've always wanted to try that, and I never tried it when 2016 came out because Gen Xers go fucking stupid for it, even though it's some green drink for 5-year-old children. Anyway, good night, everybody.